As a sliver of cold moonlight in the deep night of the pre-Christian era slanted across the hidden cave entrance atop the Latmos mountains, the air was steeped in the faint scent of wild mint and the bittersweet aroma of ancient rocks dampened by night dew. Within a valley shrouded in a heavy silver radiance, where the rhythmic crashing of distant Aegean waves against the reefs could be heard, a woman draped in a silver, cicada-wing robe sat in stillness, her eyes reflecting a profound sense of universal desolation as she quietly opened her empty hands. She was not waiting for an oracle from Mount Olympus. Instead, within the sanctuary of her mind, she chewed over the philosophical metaphors of the Titans regarding eternity. She was Selene, the true goddess of the moon, an intellectual deity who chose solitude at the pinnacle of divine power, exiling herself to a 1,000-year vigil in the valley. This is a chronicle of how restraint erupts into power, and how solitude is transmutated into nobility. The genesis of Selene's life was imbued with that primal, torrential majesty characteristic of the Titan gods, a sacred foundation woven by Hyperion, the god of light, and Thea, the goddess of sight, within the golden fissures of the universe's birth. As a goddess born with the innate duty to illuminate the night, she inherited a microcosm governed by divine order and the intricate laws of celestial motion. In the starry, crimson-hued voids, she learned to use her gaze to perceive the existential structures hidden behind every dark corner. She rejected the petty rivalries for favor at divine banquets, turning instead to the embrace of cosmic laws that possessed a mathematical beauty. Laws by which she could measure the vastness of all living things. This near-pathological pursuit of quiet truth became the first incurable fold in her psyche, and the only armor that would guard her reality throughout the interminable nights to come. If her early celestial circuits were the honing of duty, then the love she encountered in a fleeting downward glance atop Mount Latmos was the practical crucible that pushed Selene's aesthetics of vigil to its absolute zenith. She resolutely loved the mortal shepherd boy named Endymion. She prayed to Zeus not for his apotheosis, but for his eternal sleep and immortal youth. In those quiet nights, through a ruthlessly precise control over the intensity of moonlight and the ebb and flow of tides, she issued silent commands to guard the boy's dreams. In that moment, Selene was the most sober and solitary artisan of the entire Mediterranean, accepting every mockery from Olympus with silence. Her radical focus rendered her like a marble bell tower, solitary and soaring, yet indestructible. The summit of power in the eyes of the wise is often manifested as the penetration of the void. With the rise of the new Olympian pantheon, Selene realized that the grand narrative belonging to the Titans was being supplanted by a younger, more secular goddess of the hunt. Within her study filled with ancient star charts, she discovered that those grand, once invincible divine ideals possessed a profound fragility in the face of her lover's calm, waveless sleeping face, a fragility more powerful than any curse. This transition from luminous celestial body back to observer of the dark night was fraught with intellectual struggle. She remarked in her divine sensing, "I once believed I was building the future. Now I find I am merely searching for a point of convergence within the scarred fissures of memory, where the soul no longer falls." This expansive clarity became her hardest armor in her final moments. The final mythic season of Selene was spent in a state of profound solemnity and a silence illuminated by the radiance of a sage. By then, the goddess's body had become remarkably weightless from eons of vigil. Her majestic silver-bordered robe now hung loosely upon her slender frame, or rather, upon a will that had almost turned into moonlight itself. She understood that the era of miracles belonging to the ancient gods was drawing to its close with every fading breath of faith, and that she, the gatekeeper of an age, would soon be buried in the dust of legend. She closed her eyes and, with those hands that had traced celestial orbits and caressed a mortal's brow, traced a final arc of completion across her chest. In that moment, the evening breeze carried away the final sigh of this great hermit. She left behind no massive golden altars, only this scorched wisdom of vigil that still glows after 1,000 years. The name Selene remains the sole sanctuary for many insomniac seekers in the deep of night. What she left behind was not a towering monument of triumph, but a spiritual template of self-restraint and civilizational vigil. She teaches us that even if the entire world besieges you with turmoil, the order of your inner self remains governed by your perception of truth. In absolute shadow, she maintained absolute sobriety. Beneath the ruins of the valley, worn smooth by time, she maintains that posture of leaning her head to listen, as if still soothing this increasingly restless and anxious world. Her life was a long cultivation of deconstructing brilliance, an intellectual long march seeking sacred rhythms amidst the chaotic dust of the world. Selene's story thus draws to a slow close amidst the fading whispers of the waves at Mount Latmos. She was never an opportunist who bartered her essence for fame. She was merely a weary soul who steadfastly refused to compromise with mediocrity. Inner tranquility is your only true and eternal refuge. Just as she did during the coldest winter nights of ancient Greece, guarding a flickering candle and searching for a fulcrum of existence through the moonlight. Please believe that in every person's life, there is a Mount Latmos of their own, a private space for dialogue with a self that requires no outward explanation. The winds of the Aegean have calmed. May Selene's serenity and vastness become the softest feather in your dreams, carrying you to the farthest shore of the soul. Good night.